Welcome to our webinar on mastering the all new Zoho Mail admin console. I'm Yamini Durai from the Zoho Mail team, and I'm excited to explore our product with you. The demo account I'm using is a super administrator account. So if you are an admin and find some of the features missing or differ from the way you have seen in your console, it might be because of that. Now that everything's started sorted, let's get started. After hearing your suggestions and self analyzing what kind of features and UI would make better benefit our admins, we decided to revamp our admin console to make sure you get the best solution there is to administer your organization's mailboxes. When we started the revamp process, we noticed that our admin console UI required a modern, intuitive touch with customizations, themes, and a much more contextual menu structure. And we decided why not add it with a new must have features as well. You guessed it, that's what we went with. The all new Zoho Mail admin console is much more powerful than ever before. Your admin console is no more static. You can reorganize its left pane the way you like by simply dragging the menu option to your desired place. And you can also change the theme of your admin console by clicking the profile picture and navigating to the theme setting and choosing the theme you want. And if you feel like the left menu is taking up too much space, you can shrink it and get a much more focused view using the shrink option. And you can work without any distractions. As soon as you log into your admin console as an administrator, you will be invited by our dashboard. The new dashboard brings in everything you liked from our old UI, like the number of domains, users, groups, and the licenses you have purchased, your super administrator email address, and all that information, but added with widgets for bird's eye view on your email traffic stats, active and inactive users, storage reports, organization summary, resources for your perusal, and you can just with a click go to the resources of Zoho Mail. And the best part is you can enable or disable these widgets depending on your requirement by customizing your dashboard. So just with a toggle, the widget you doesn't like is gone and can also come back. You can also reorganize these widgets the way you prefer by simply dragging and dropping. So while we are working on more widgets for you, is there a particular widget you would like to see on the dashboard? Let us know in the poll. So in the old UI, you would have access the organization settings from the dashboard, from right here, locations, custom login, delete organization, and within the organization settings, display name format, preferred email format. But right now, we have consolidated all these options under a single organization menu. You can configure all that right here. You can access the organization menu by simply clicking the edit icon in your dashboard, or you can also access it the way I did before by clicking the organization menu on the left pane. One of the features we added to this repertoire is organization wide signatures. So, using this feature, you can create a signature that will be placed under every user part of your organization. Now, you can simply click configure template and give a name to your signature. Let's say for all, and you can type in your signature. And you can use these placeholder variables to give a personalized look of your signature as well. Now, if I click save and go to a particular user's profile and see how the signature looks like, you can see that the signature is completely customized according to the user. So, this is one of the new features that we have added. Now, something to note is that this signature cannot be edited by users, and if there are any variables for which we can't find data, they will be replaced with empty values. That is, that specific variable will go away as if it never existed. While not new, another feature that I would like to talk about here is the welcome email template. When you configure a welcome email, we will automatically send it to all the users newly added to your organization. You can configure a welcome email template right here. So, given a template name and choose from which email address you would like it to be sent from. The sender doesn't have to be a Zoho Mail administrator. For example, you can give your CEO's email address and give your users a personal connect that their CEO has sent them a hola. And if we go into the domain section, you can see that from years of observing, we noticed two things: that it's easy to forget your domain needs to be verified and that you need to add MX records. Secondly, SPF and DKIM being under different menu kind of breaks the momentum an admin would have when they're configuring a particular domain. So to solve this, we brought in all the domain based configurations under a single place. And your domains will now be listed with the configuration status right beneath them. So you can see what needs to be done and get it done. One of the configurations we have consolidated heavily and made it easier for admins to work with is the DMARC settings. Now, DMARC is an authentication protocol that helps email receivers determine if the message aligns with the SPF and DKIM configurations of the email sender. This prevents you from getting spammed, spoofed, or phished. But one of the best things about DMARC is that it allows the sender to receive a report on whether their emails got a DMARC pass or fail. Previously, this option to generate the DMARC value within Zoho Mail was not a possibility. It was rather a manual process. But now you can generate your DMARC value by providing the required data like action to be taken when DMARC validation fails. You can do nothing to the emails, quarantine the emails, or reject the emails. Aggregate notification email address to which consolidated report on both successful and failed DMARC validations will be sent, and forensic notification email address to send reports on failed DMARC validations. You can also choose the action you want to take if DMARC validation fails for an email sent to a subdomain. And finally, enter the percentage of emails for which you want the DMARC policy to be applied. This will help you in rolling out the DMARC policy within your organization in a phased manner. You can later change the percentage and just update your record in your DNS. After choosing the alignment of SPF from relaxed or strict and for same for DKM, click generate and your DMARC value would have gotten generated. Once that's done, all you need to do is go to your domain's DNS and create a TXT record with the TXT name and value we provided here, and come back here and click verify DMARC record. And you are safer than before from spammers. Apart from this, other domain based settings like subdomain stripping or domain aliasing have all been consolidated under each domain. So, say you want to add a catch all address for a domain, you can simply click the domain you want it added to, go to the settings of that domain, and find it right there. Having this domain based settings all in one place allows you to troubleshoot faster and have a clearer picture of what's what. Now, with all this reorganizing of features and options, you might be worried about finding the one you want. You might be worried, how am I going to find the feature I want to find? This is where our search bar comes to play. So, if you see right on top here, we have something called quick access. You can easily find what you're looking for by typing in the search. Say you want to add locations to your organization. So you just type in your query, and we will fetch results relevant to your query. So you can simply click go to organization locations, and there you go. You have brought in here. But that's not where it stops. Quick access goes further than that. You can do specific searches based on domains, users, groups, migration, and you can also have nested queries where you just type in, say you want to update the location of a user. So you just type in location, click update location of a user, and you can type in or select the user you want to update location of, and you will be taken to the location page of that particular user. So you can simply go ahead and edit and change their location. Talking about user settings, you can create users individually by using the add button here, or import them using a CSV file or from Google Workspace, Zoho CRM, or other Zoho products if you have an account established there. In case of Google account, you will be needing a super admin email address, a service account email address, and a secret key file. Once you enter all these and authenticate, you can go ahead and map the domains, select the users, and start your import. It's as simple as that. Something to note here is that in the old UI, when you perform user inputs from other services, you would have to wait in the same section of the admin console until the process gets completed. But now you can start off an import, and you can go ahead and do something else on the admin console you want to get done, and don't have to worry about waiting right there. So this is one of the enhancement that we have added to the new admin console. Something we have also enhanced is you going into your import section and just finding the import reports. You can see whether it was a success and what is in progress and how many failed. You can see a detailed report of your import. When there is a business email setup, you want few users to be able to manage your organization with certain roles. In the old UI, the roles we had were super administrator, administrator, and users. But now, apart from these, we also provide two other roles. You can be spam control admin to take care of an organization's spam settings like configuring the quarantine options, managing allowed list, blocked list, and help desk admin to monitor activities of your organization like accessing the reports, managing audit logs, and stuff like that. The marketplace developers rule for the users who can build application or extensions for your organization. We also have more roles coming up to cater specific admin actions in the future. While any rule change can only be done by the super administrator, it can be easily done from the profile of a user. You can simply click the edit button here and change the role. And if you want to do it in bulk, you can select and click change role and choose the role you would like. Apart from these, um, when we are here in the profile section, I would also like to show you something we added to the personal information. You can now add custom details to an user's profile. You can use this to populate the user's profile with any information you find relevant without restrictions of the generic fields we provided. Apart from this, we have also consolidated other user related settings within the user's profile. You can enforce a particular email policy, create email alias, change your mailbox address. If you have multiple mailbox addresses, you can simply go ahead and change it. And you can also configure email forwarding. You can enable or disable these mailbox actions. You can give pop access, you can give IMAP access. From right here, you can configure out of office, you can configure signature. Everything can be done from right here. And apart from this, you can also configure the user's respective anti-spam settings like allowed list and blocked list for email addresses and domain, and check their storage status and allocation summary. You can also check their security features like two-factor authentication. You can change their password. You can update their login email address if they have multiple login email addresses, or you can add a new login email addresses. You can define allowed IP address range, and you can also configure SMIME for that particular user. Now, talking about SMIME, SMIME encrypts the content of an email when it is transported from the sender to the receiver. Encrypting your message with SMIME ensures the privacy and integrity of your email with the help of public and private keys. For SMIME to work though, both sender and receiver has to have it configured. Admins can configure for a user by uploading the SMIME certificate right here. And with the help of account activity, you can see the user's login history and session history, and you can even close all the sessions that are open of a user from there. And finally, you can also manage the groups or distribution lists of a user by going to the groups section. Apart from viewing which groups a user is part of, you can also add them to new groups that are relevant to them by simply clicking that add icon. So, what are groups? I'm sure you're aware, but I'm just going to give a short introduction. So, groups are commonly called distribution lists and are email addresses that are shared by a set of users for a common purpose. When an email is sent to a group email address, a copy of that email will be delivered to the inboxes of all the members of that particular group. Just like users, you can also create your groups individually or import them using a CSV file or from Google Workspace. Now, if you have already authenticated your Google account when you were going to import users, you wouldn't have to do it again here. It's just a one-time process, and once it's done, you can go ahead and start with your input. So within a group, under the member section, you can change the role of a member. So you can make someone a moderator, you can change their status, and you can also check whether a member is allowed to send an email using this group email address or not. You can accept or reject emails automatically without any moderation if you change it here, or if you click hold in the post approval section, you can hold the email sent by that particular user and you can approve it later. And if you click hold and acknowledge, then you can hold it for moderation and you can acknowledge the sender that their email is on hold. Group email addresses can be used as from addresses, like I said before, but you can give permission to not use it or use it. If you want to say allow all the users to send messages from the group email address, you can simply go to advanced settings and change the email delivery option right here. You can check allow group members to send emails using their group email addresses, and everyone will have access to send emails using their group email address. So apart from that, we also have this option called deliver email only if group email address is in from or CC. If you check this, then the emails that are sent with the group email address in BCC will not be delivered to the members of the group. Apart from this, advanced settings include applying an email policy to the group, creating a group alias address, changing the default. You can change the default email address as well right here. If you say add alias address, you can simply change the alias address by clicking the star right here. And you can also set a failure threshold, you can set notification settings, and so on. If you have an email address or domain for which you want to automatically accept or reject emails, then you can do that using email restrictions and domain restrictions. And if you have moderation enabled for your group, you can find the emails waiting for moderation under the moderation tab. The moderators who are not admins can access these features by going to the groups panel. Apart from the moderator and member role within a group, there are certain privileges that can be provided or restrained to admins or users of your organization. You can do that by going into security and compliance rules and privileges. So, by navigating to privileges right here, you can allow or restrict the organization and personal group creation and decide who can create groups. Personal group can have members who are not part of your organization. You can also restrict this by toggling off allow personal groups with external users under personal group privileges. Now that you have added users, groups, and configured email delivery for your domain by adding MX records, you would want to bring in the existing data to Zoho Mail. You can do that using the Zoho Mail's data migration option. You start the migration process by selecting which protocol you would like to use. You can simply click add a new server and select the protocol you would like to use. You can use the Google Workspace option, you can use Office 365 or Microsoft Exchange in case of applications, and you can also migrate using IMAP and POP protocols. For Google Workspace, we have a seamless one time authentication where you don't have to authenticate your Google account more than once. Like I said before, all you need to do is authenticate your Google account with the G Suite super admin email address, service account email address, and the secret key file. Once you do this just once, you won't have to do it again. This allows you to seamlessly migrate data from Google Workspace in batches without having to worry about a hefty process. And for Office 365, you need just a second. You need source admin email and source admin password. And for Microsoft Exchange, apart from the source admin email and source admin password, you also have to provide source server address. For us, this will provide us the necessary information and necessary details to be able to migrate the data from your applications. So After providing the information to connect with your data, like server details, you can go ahead and provide the information on what you would like to migrate. And once you do that, you can you can see that all the information of the migration coming here. I'll just run a demo migration for you, so you can simply add the settings. You can say what folders you want to migrate, what emails you want to migrate, and click proceed and name the migration. And you can also select when to pause the migration and click create. And you can start the migration when you find it convenient after adding the accounts. Although we discussed migration right now, we will go in depth on migration in the upcoming webinars. I do want to discuss a few new features that have been added to the new admin console. So, when you are a big organization or an enterprise, you don't perform complete data migration in a single go. To make sure there are no errors, enterprises prefer to do their migration in batches. This is why we brought in saved server details and saved settings. Whenever you add a new migration, we will automatically save those settings right here. And these information can be used when you execute or configure a migration. You can also manually add and save server details and manually add settings which you can configure for a server detail, and you can use it whenever you configure the migration. One of the major roles of administrators is to define how organizations send and receive emails. Now, every user within the organization will not have the same requirement or need the same privileges as the other. This is where email policy comes in. You can create multiple email policies with varying values for the parameters at play. You can start off by setting the maximum incoming and outgoing email size and the number of emails permitted per minute for the user. You can associate these information with a policy and apply these to users and groups. So apart from the general restrictions you find here, you can also apply restrictions that specifically cater to certain aspect of users emailing experience. Although the defaults we provided under each restriction is not editable, you can go to email restriction, for example, and create a new restriction for you to give the details you want. You can simply go to a policy and click on the restriction, and you can associate a particular restriction with that policy. We also have we also gave email routing a completely new look, which we will be taking an in-depth look in the upcoming webinar. Now, when you have so much data flowing through your organization accounts, you have to have maximum security. It's that important. So, under the security and compliance section, you can find TFA. The two-factor authentication will provide you additional security that only password can't. After that, you can also check allowed IP addresses, where you can give different IP addresses based on the user rules. You can establish password policy, using which you can decide how strong you want your password to be. And you can even set an expiry date for your password and notify the users to change their password before it gets expired. You can also use SAML authentication, configure it, enable suspicious login alerts, so we let the users know immediately if there has been any unusual logins of their account. Apart from securing your account, you can also use spam control features to limit the spam ending up in your inboxes. You can choose to analyze the emails completely or based on the given parameters. Like you can choose to process spam based on the content or sender or header. You can also use the allowed list to add email addresses that are allowed to send emails to you, and block list to block emails. Post delivery spam check allows Zoho Mail to move a inbox delivered email to the spam folder if we identify it to be spam at a later time. You can, like I said, establish organization wide allowed list, block list, trusted list. You can use that for domains and also email addresses. And you can also use internationalized spam if you feel that a lot of spam is coming from a particular language or coming from a particular country. You can use this option to block those. Now, one of the features that we have added newly is spam blocked list patterns. Now, if your organization gets spam with a similar kind of expression, then you can add that here and set a delivery action. Now, using the spam verification section, you can configure what kind of action you would like to take if your emails failed SPF, DKIM, DMARC, or DNSBL verification. In such cases, you can choose to take no action, or temporarily reject the received email, or permanently reject the received email, or move that email to quarantine section. Now, you can, if you choose to quarantine those emails, you can access those emails from the quarantine section right here. So you can see the list of quarantined emails, the emails that we delivered from quarantine, and the emails that we denied. While you can see this list, you can also enable email notification to let the admins know regarding the quarantined emails. Previously, you can let the admins know regarding the quarantined emails. Previously, quarantined emails sent to an organization user could only be moderated by the admins, but with the new UI, the users added here as self moderators under this section will have the privilege to moderate their own quarantined emails. Apart from this, you can also control the phishing emails that are sent to your organization by controlling the cousin domain section and the display name spoofing section. Now, a cousin domain is a domain that looks so close to your domain. For example, my domain is wptraining.today. Now, I have added a domain here as cousin domain, that is vvptraining.today, which looks so close to W that it's hard to tell the difference. You can list such domains here and set a delivery action. You can say move to quarantine or move to spam. Similarly, with display name spoofing, you can associate a display name with certain email addresses. Now, you can say a particular display name can only be associated with the email addresses that I have configured. Now, if the emails with the display name you configured here comes from an email address that is not part of the list you gave, then that email will be considered illegitimate. And finally, you can process and restrict emails with certain type of content using the malware processing. You can choose content based spam settings and move the emails with content like web bugs, bulk emails, or macros. And you can also check HTML tags with frame, object, embed, or form. Now, that is done. We all know security goes hand in hand with compliance. Be it any organization, it's highly possible that they are dealing with a lot of confidential data. And due to the same, it wouldn't be uncommon to get a data subject request. But it is a common difficulty to find the data without any turmoil. With Zoho Mail's data subject request feature, you can easily retrieve all the data related to a particular email address and export it as HTML or PDF. If you choose to add duplicate identifier, then you can only export the file as CSV. Now, if DSR allows you to be compliant with model regulations like GDPR, Zoho Mail's eDiscovery feature makes sure you have complete control over your company's data, because emails are not only a form of communication but also a form of evidence. With the help of e-discovery and email retention, you can make sure to retain emails of your organization. And it is based on users. You can also retain it forever or retain it for a particular period of time. This will ensure that your organization's data is intact and has not been tampered with. Using e-discovery, you can conduct investigations, hold emails needed for an investigation, recover emails from user mailboxes. You can find records of admin activities under audit logs. You can just preview it or download that audit. And if you have backup enabled, in case of accidental delete of an email, the admin can recover the same for the user. And the same, you can retain it forever, or you can choose to retain spam emails as well. It's up to you. And finally, you can actually access various statistics and records of your organization's emailing experience under the reports of your organization. Now, you can go here and you can find a bird's eye view of all the widgets with snippets of information that you find necessary or you would want. Now, in the dashboard, you can find various reports like rejection reports, bounce reports, you can see user summary, and there are other reports where you can find variety of data that cater to your organization's emailing experience. You can see user summary, or you can see protocol access details, you can see who accessed POP or IMAP, and the reports go in depth a lot. So that's it for an overall overview of the Zoho Mail's new revamped admin console. The topics that we did not discuss in detail, we will be discussing it very soon. And if you have any questions, please let us know right now.